Greetings and blessings, everyone. Welcome to Lights for the Way podcast. This is a brand new podcast, and we are dedicated to a very simple premise: lighting the way for people. There is so much out there currently in the realms of spirituality that is just a confusion, if you will. So, on our very first show, we are sponsored by the Blue Star Spiritual Group, and my co-host generally will be Anita Davies, and we are going to have a lot of different guests, and I've got different ideas for that. And our show is officially going to launch in a couple of months' time. But I thought I would do the initial show because, generally speaking, the best place to start is at the beginning. Now, I was raised in Oklahoma, and being raised in Oklahoma, of course, as part of the Bible Belt, and being part of the Bible Belt, of course, we have this situation where generally you grew up as Christian, and I did that. And for myself, one of the things that they used to teach us when I was growing up in church was um, God has a plan for this world, and He has a plan for everyone that's on the planet. And for myself, I'd be like, okay, cool. What's the plan? I wanted to know what the plan was. I mean, if God's got a plan, and everyone seems to know that God's got a plan, somebody's got to know what the plan is, right? Unfortunately, nobody knew what the plan was. Just that God had a plan, and when God wanted to, He would show us what His plan was, whatever that might be. And apparently they had been saying this for about 2,000 years, and so they were just repeating what they had been told. And they were telling me the same thing. But they were right. God does have a plan. The problem is that we have paradoxes. And paradoxes basically is when you have a situation that's true and not true, or you can have a situation where you have one and you have something else as well. And in the latter, growing up in the Midwest, in what is known as the Bible Belt, there's been a debate going on for decades now. And it's a debate between evolution and creationism. And as you can imagine, those on a scientific bent favor evolution, and those on a religious bent favor creationism. And of course, because it's been going on for decades, neither side ever wins. Occasionally, you might get a defector here and there, but for the most part, you got the evolutionists on one side and the creationists on the other side, and it's always been that way. And it's basically gotten to a point now, I think, where it's mainly just, well, we will agree to disagree. But now, how would they feel today if they found out that they're both right? That there is evolution and there is creationism. They probably wouldn't be happy because they've been fighting on one side or the other, and to be told that their opponents are also right, but so are they, that would just cause confusion. But if any of those evolutionists or creationists listen to this podcast, perhaps they will discover some simple truths that I already discovered some time ago. So, we're going to go to the beginning because I don't see a point in starting in the middle or two-thirds of the way through, or even a third of the way through. Let's start at the beginning where everybody can just have a seat, focus, and realize that what's going on is so much more than you realized or thought about. This planet was not created in 6 days, as we are led to believe by the Bible and Christianity. Of course, if we look at it, pretty much all cultures and spiritual beliefs and religious beliefs all have their creationist stories. There is a wide range of creationist stories and different players and everything else. So I'm going to make this simple because simplicity many times is the best way of going. And as I like to say, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. So we're going to keep this simple. So what we have basically is a situation where this planet formed naturally. And then not only did it form naturally, but it also began this evolutionary cycle where animals were created and life formed here and all of this stuff. Well, when it got to a point where humanoid life was created, you got to remember, okay, and this is very, very important to remember, there has been a lot of different human species on this planet. I reckon we don't even know half of it. Okay, we're familiar with Homo sapiens. That's who we are. We got the Neanderthal. We have the giants or the Nephilim. We have those that they're now, because of Lord of the Rings, calling the hobbits, remains that they have found in Indonesia. We have those that they have found in Peru, some which appear reptilian, some with elongated heads. There's actually one remains that they found which is like 48 inches tall. We're talking very, very small here. So we know that there have been many different humanoid species on this planet. When humanoid species showed up, basically what occurred was the planet sent a signal to what is termed the God Star, or the Great Central Sun. Now, the God Star is the home of God, shall we say. So God's, doing whatever God does, and he's like, oh, I've got a message here from this planet. There's humanoid life. So he sends 4 groups of beings out here, and they're led by a group called the Halakeen. Now, the Halakeen are basically the left and right hand of God. God says, this is what needs to be done. The Halakeen are like, you got it. And the four ships are manned basically by what we term the ancients. Now, some of the words that I'm going to be using are simply to convey things, these labels, and I hate labels. I prefer light language. Light language is so much better. Anyway, so they come and they have to basically answer a single question. Can the native human population evolve? It's not based on one particular species. The answer was yes, they could. And so the last planet to ascend into the 5th dimension, which takes millions of years, by the way, and who had gone through this evolutionary process, they come at the bequest of these 4 groups and the Halakeen. And they come and they basically start doing tests on the native human population. And they take the strongest specimens, shall we say, because you see the humanoids that are on the planet do not have souls. They just have physical forms. Okay? And so what's happened here is they've done their tests and everything, and basically implanted certain humanoid species with the divine spark. When this divine spark is implanted, it goes into the heart center. And when it goes into the heart center, it creates, here's the part of creationism here, it creates a soul. And it creates the chakras in the body. And it connects that soul to God, to the universe, to all that is, however you wish to term it. So all of a sudden, we've got this situation where some of the humanoid population has a soul now. When they mate, like a man's been implanted with the divine spark, he has a soul now. He mates with a female that does not have the divine spark and a soul. The offspring that they have will have the divine spark and soul. So as this is carrying out, as this is happening on planet Earth, then we have a situation where a call goes out into the universe, and they're looking for volunteers. And this call is answered by volunteers from the Pleiades, from Sirius, from Arcturus, from Alpha Centauri, from Lyra, from Orion, from a multitude of different places, different realms. Every volunteer, they're known as starseeds here on Earth, come here, and they are all at least in the fifth dimension or sixth dimension. And by the time they start arriving, these four main groups, which is now in charge of Project Earth, they've got the lowdown on the entire planet and on the entire situation here. So we have this situation where all of a sudden, they're coming and they begin the job of being prepared for their journey here. So there are certain rules around the participation of Project Earth as a starseed. Now, what you have to understand is the Project Earth is third dimensionally based. It's based in the third dimension. Density, duality, games, illusions. It's the starting place, if you will, for evolution. Okay, it goes through processes within the first and second dimension, and then when the planet is created, it moves into that third dimensional space or sphere. So one of the things they have to do is they have to descend their energy and become physical on planet Earth. So they create Atlantis, what we know of as Atlantis and Lemuria. And these are the places where the starseed are going to begin from. So they come, and they come down into Atlantis, Lemuria, and they start working to lower their vibrational frequency. Now, during this time, there is a being named Denath, who is the master healer on the Blue Star. And he creates all of these different devices and crystals and different things. And these go within the etheric body of the starseed who are going to be participating in this project. And the point of these objects and devices is actually to assist them in forgetting who they truly are. Once they are completely into the third dimension, they've descended their energy, then at some point they go through death and begin the process of reincarnation. Now, the purpose of the reincarnation is not only to participate in the project, but through each subsequent reincarnation, they are basically, it helps them to forget who they truly are, where they're from. So every starseed on this planet, they are not here to learn about unconditional love. You come from a place of unconditional love. And the thing that annoys me is you've got all of these spiritual people out there who's proclaiming. For some reason, they are proclaiming that we are going through the ascension process. You got even people like Corey Good and David Wilcock and Lee Carroll, who channels Cryon, and all of these different people talking about the ascension. I hate to inform you, but as Starseed, you've already ascended and you've already evolved. See, Project Earth is about the evolution of the native human population. They are given assistance from the 4 main groups of ancients and Halakine who are here, but they're also given assistance from other beings from the Pleiades and Arcturus and different places, because they have people who are incarnated here who are starseed on this planet, so they're here as well, not only to assist in the project, but to assist their own people, because they don't want to lose their own people through other means and stuff like this. Now, I realize that for some people, they may be hearing this and they may go, but so-and-so said this and so-and-so said that. And I don't really care what so-and-so said, because so-and-so is wrong. See, this isn't about me. Okay? The purpose, if you will, for Lights for the Way podcast is to share truth. It's not about ego. It's not about I know more than you. It's not about you know more than me. It's not about who's more special. It's not about competition. It's not about any of those things. It's about sharing truth with people. So what we have here, we have a situation where you have what's called a grand cycle. Now, in this grand cycle, humans, whichever species is in the lead for that grand cycle, evolves technologically, spiritually, whatever. But they get to a particular point on the journey where they have to make a choice. And the choice that they have to make is, do we evolve or no? It's not time yet. And 4 times they said no. And basically what occurred then is when they said no, over the course of probably 20 to 25 years, the pin gets pulled, all life stops, and everything is reset back to the beginning. And this has happened 5 times. Well, the answer has been no 4 times. So this is the 5th grand cycle. So this is the 5th grand cycle. And in 1987, see, I started my journey on the 12th of November at 10:30 p.m., 1986. Yes, I do know the date and time because it was my grandmother who started me on my path, and she did so from her deathbed. So it was a very memorable moment for me. But in 1987, there was an event called the Harmonic Convergence. And at that event, just the right percentage of native human population made the choice to evolve. And in 1989, a cycle began. Now, we are still in that cycle. And just so that I can kind of give you an idea, minus 1987. So it's 25 years. So a total of 50 years. So basically this cycle's midway point was the 21st of December, 2012. And that was the point of no return. Either all life would end and we would reset and start over again, or we would pass that marker and we would complete phase 1 or the beginning of Project Earth and move into phase 2. These phases are not a short amount of time. You have all these people talking about the ascension. It's not happening in our lifetime. You don't believe me? Turn on your news. Oh, I can hear it now. Everyone's going, I don't listen to the news, man. It's just, it's all bull, man. Yeah, well, maybe it is, but just listen to your news. This planet's not ready to ascend yet. We still have a long ways to go. But the native human population has chosen to ascend. Now, it does not mean that there's not going to be an event occur on this planet that creates a situation where a lot of people leave. There has to be a resetting to a certain degree. And a lot of people are leaving in actual fact. And many of them are leaving because they know that when they come back, they'll come back filled with a new energy. You see, along with this point of no return is also the ending of karma. Karma doesn't exist anymore. I know a lot of you out there is going to, again, go, oh, you're full of crap. But no, it has ended. Okay. So a lot of people at this time who are incarnated right now have been like, look, I still want to balance these energies. And so they're trying to do that, and they're working to do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. So this cycle is due to be completed in 2037. What's going to happen in 2037? We'll have to wait and find out. See, there are many different potentials. As someone who does readings and does guidance sessions and stuff, I never tell anybody that, about something that's written in stone, except for those things that are already there, that have already been experienced. Those are kind of written in stone because they've already happened. But as far as future events go, it's based on our choices. Now, if you want to really contribute moving into phase 2, it's about love of self, love for other people, being non-judgmental, being open and relaxed with people, interacting with people, showing them respect and love and compassion. This is what it's about, you see. And it really comes down to a simple phrase, and it's a phrase that was very, very well known in the ancient world. Know thyself. See, that's what my focus is. That's what I do, is I help people know themselves. Walk the path that they're here to walk. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, you see. So we get to a point where Project Earth is all about the evolution of the native human population. So there is creationism and there is evolution. There's both. Along with this, not all starseed or volunteers have participated in all 5 grand cycles. Generally, most volunteers or starseed have only participated in no more than 2 or 3. And the starseeds, many of the starseeds who have, say, participated in like 3 grand cycles, they are in the process of leaving now, and they're going to be going home. And new volunteers are entering, and have been coming in for probably the last 50 to 100 years, preparing. Some have come in for, say, like up to 3 or 4 lifetimes. So this is what's going on now. A little bit of a changing of the guard, but for most of the starseed that are on the planet, they are here to assist moving forward. Now, the other thing to remember here, and this is very, very important, this is not a fantasy. This is reality. We have a situation where we operate from a place of heart. And we have gotten too tied up and invested in the illusions of planet Earth. And part of the problem, and like I said just a little while ago, it's about knowing thyself. Know who you are. Because I'm going to tell you something. Within the starseeds that are on this planet, there are light workers and there are dark workers. And you see, those of darkness have been so vilified over and over again, for millennia. They have been vilified, that they go around pretending to be those of light. They have convinced themselves that they are of light, but they regularly will show themselves as being not of light. But what happens is that these dark workers know all the right words and know all the right phrases to get people to follow them and to listen to every word they say and believe it without discernment. So I'm going to finish up this little podcast about Project Earth with some timely advice. It is important for all starseed to use the gifts and abilities that we've been given. Now, when I say that, I am not referring to being a reader or being a medium or being a healer. I'm not referring to that at all. I'm referring to the gifts we've been given, the utilization of our imagination, the utilization of one of our greatest tools, which is discernment. See, we should never blindly accept what anyone says as truth. I remember back in March of 1989, I was living in Bonnie Lake, Washington, which is just outside of Tacoma. And I went to my very first channeling. And it was a lady who channeled, and she was a trance channeler, so she completely left her body and allowed someone else to enter her body and utilize her body to speak and everything like that. So we have this situation basically where she basically, she goes into her trance and out comes this being named Rajni, right? And although I couldn't really tell you what all he talked about, there was about 70 people in the audience. But it's what he said at the beginning that stuck with me. And that was 1989, and it's 2017. It's actually September 2017, and I still remember it as though it happened yesterday. He said, I come to you, and all I will speak is truth. However, do not blindly accept my words as truth. Rather, discern them within your heart. If it resonates within, explore it, experience it, see where it leads you. If it does not resonate, throw it away or put it on a shelf. Don't worry about it. Don't judge it. Don't criticize it. If it is something that you require later on, it will come back around. I thought about this. And at that particular time, I wasn't as well versed as I am today, okay? I didn't know as much as I know today, all right? My beard wasn't white as it is today, okay? So I'm listening to this and watching this, and a couple of years go by, and different things happen. And then the significance of what he said struck. There are star seeds here from the Pleiades, from Arcturus, from Alpha Centauri, from Orion. There are light workers, there are dark workers, so on and so forth. Are dark workers evil and light workers good? It doesn't work that way. Light workers like things in order. They like things in a certain way. They feel that you got to follow certain rules, and you can only proceed upwards according to those rules, and achieving every little goal that you need to achieve along the way. Whereas those of darkness believe in chaos, conflict, war. These types of things they believe creates the greatest evolution. And it's not about following rules. It's about doing whatever you need to do. And if you think about it, and you think, well, are those of darkness wrong? But when I think about it, and I think about, say, World War II, right? We're talking about a world war here, or the Korean War, or even World War I. The advances that were made in medicine alone was phenomenal. Medicine thrived and evolved exponentially during war. So one would have to argue that a being of darkness, viewing it in that manner, there's something to it. There's also something to doing things step by step. So basically, I do things both ways. Because I have the advantage because I'm not a light worker or a dark worker. I'm simply here to be of service. And I am a starseed. There are those of us who are not light workers and dark workers, and it's very challenging for us actually, because we walk into a room filled with light workers, and mostly those light workers are looking for a particular energetic vibrational frequency signature that other light workers give off. And dark workers will look for the same thing. And I don't give it off because I'm not a light worker or a dark worker. So a lot of times what it means is people have difficulty and a challenge connecting with me. But at the end of the day, I'm here doing what I'm doing because this is what I'm meant to be doing. This is what I've been sent here to do. And so I'm going to do what I'm here to do because, well, if I don't do it, then I can't rely on somebody else to do it. I've got to be willing to step up and do what I need to do. So at the end of the day, we are a work in progress. Okay. Project Earth is all about the evolution of the native human population, and every starseed that's here, whether they are a light worker or a dark worker, whether they come from the Pleiades, Sirius, Arcturus, Orion, Lyra, wherever it may be, they're here for the exact same reason, to assist the native human population in their evolution. But what you have to remember, and this is very, very important, what you have to remember is the fact that with those starseed, they have come from places where they have their own truth, where they have their own creation stories, where they have their own beliefs. And so it brings me back to Rajni. And what I've seen over the years, because I'm a channeler myself, I've been channeling now for over 28 years. And when I've channeled in front of groups, the same thing has happened as I've seen happen at a Cryon channeling or when Rajni channeled. I haven't been to many channelings, but I've been to a few. Usually I'm the human telephone. Usually I'm the channeler, but there we go. And so what we have is a situation where we get into this place where beings who are channeled will say something and it will resonate with one person and not with somebody else, because it's meant for that person that it resonates with. It's not for the person it doesn't resonate with. I've actually seen instances in channeling sessions and have experienced people telling me this when I've channeled, where someone says, oh, you said this and you said this and this came out and it was amazing and it was right on spot on the money. And somebody's standing next to them and they go, what? I didn't hear that at all. It will happen. They're very talented, these higher dimensional beings that are here to assist us. And we do have a lot of assistance. We have a lot of spiritual guides and a lot of beings that are here to assist us on this journey. And their main focus, to be honest with you, is my main focus, which is about assisting you in walking the path you are here to walk. So we're going to finish this off very simply. Letting you know what we do offer and things like this. So I offer services such as the personal Akashic Scrolls, personal guidance sessions. I do life coaching sessions, both spiritual life coaching as well as career, relationship, as well as things like self-esteem, stuff like that. I am also do the Blue Star Healing Method, both in person as well as by distance. I teach it as well. And if you'd like to bring the Blue Star Healing Method workshop to your town, send us an email on bluestarworkshops@gmail.com. Now, this is the Lights for the Way podcast. I've been your host today, James Devitt, and we've been speaking about Project Earth. So give us a subscribe, and we'll be coming at you again later on. Thank you, and many blessings. Bye-bye.